Raymond Wilson, why we have so many false starts on offense this year? Good question. I think the penalties are really, to me, the story of this game, along with the turnovers. It's not exactly breaking news, but here's a stat that I wanted to point out that troubled me quite a bit, which is, just pull up here. So it's early in the season, so I don't want to read too much into the exact ranking, but you look at college football team penalties per game. There you see Miami, 138.6. They had 9 this game, so I was right on schedule. Look at last year, right? So different set of players. Miami, 98th in the country in penalties per game. 2023, this is the TVD year. Let's see how Miami's doing penalties per game. 80th. Finally, let's look at the first year with Coach Cristobal, 108th. So that's not good. I mean, that's the whole tenure. A lot of penalties. Clearly, it was an issue in this game when you have 9 penalties and really untimely ones that had you behind the sticks constantly. I think that really set Miami's offense back because it's built on getting in front of the sticks. It's built on 3 yards on first down, 4 yards on first downs, 5 yards on first down, maybe 4 yards on second down, where you're able to get these favorable down and distances, help your quarterback convert the short yardage if you need to with your powerful backs, but really just control the down and distance, control the game. When you're getting penalties like they did when they did, you're constantly behind the sticks. You're throwing when you don't want to throw, and you see what happened to Miami against Louisville, where the offense really struggled, and they only ran the ball 18 times in a close game. It was a close game pretty much throughout. It wasn't a game that got away from them where they couldn't throw. It was a matter of the down and distance and not being able to control that. Let's see what we got here. A lot of talk about the false starts, the defensive shifts. Dizzy Dean points out, yeah, everybody does that line shift on third down to get us behind the sticks. It works. We jump. We jump every time. Baganov says this, is simply not that good. Has little margin for error. I think the O's had some really nice moments. I mean, Gators are not an easy defense to crack for other teams, and we handled them pretty good in a motivated setting. Notre Dame, which their defense was, had a tough outing against Texas A&M, but a good defense. First game, they were motivated, able to do what you need to do to win that one. Florida State, the offense lit them up. So I think the offense is pretty good, but we'll find out if they just completely roll these ACC teams. I thought that was going to happen against Louisville, quite frankly, and the offense is going to have a lot of success like it did last year and really dominate physically. They did not. So we'll see if they can do that for the rest of the ACC schedule. But I think they're going to have a chance to have some big, big games and probably have their best games on the remaining schedule because you play a Syracuse, because you play SMU, which has struggled on defense, Stanford, which has struggled everywhere, even though they beat Florida State. NC State really, really struggled on defense against Notre Dame. They got lit up. Pitt, Virginia Tech, kind of, average to below programs. Pitt probably a much tougher battle than Virginia due to the success that the freshman quarterback is having. Joe Wren says false starts at home are inexcusable. So it happens sometimes. The consistency is the problem. Jake Campbell says, cultural question. Why doesn't Miami ever improve as the season goes on? Seems the team always flatlines and free falls once film gets out on them. 2016 was the last time they finished strong. Yeah, that's been a problem at Miami for many, many years, and it has not been solved. Certainly wasn't solved last year after the Syracuse and the Georgia Tech game. So we'll see. Patrick Conyers is concerned, says, I don't think we're going to make it to the ACC championship game and the playoffs. More losses are coming. G9 says, why don't we rotate the D-line? We have plenty of depth in that room and not understanding, plus there events injury to starters like Hakeem. I think with most teams right now, there's a big drop-off between starters and backups on D-line because the good backups are getting poached in the portal. Miami has some good depth. Marquise Lightfoot, Armando Blunt. You saw Herbert Scroggins even get a couple reps in this last game due to Messidor's injury. Booker Pickett had a few reps. So I think you'll see some more of that, especially as time goes on. Kyle says, Louisville's number 13 ranked defense nationally, number 1 in ACC in defense. People don't realize this. Yeah, they were a lot better than I thought. They made some incredible plays, athletic plays to intercept the ball. I didn't think they'd be that good based on tape and how they looked the year before, but they were. They shut me up. They played fast. I think the fact that they were in the game early and it was just a competitive game from the start allowed the defense to play with a lot of confidence, a lot of verve, and the play calling was fantastic. Really he knew our tendencies, completely stuffed the inside run game, and then the turnovers again, very very spectacular plays. See, West End Zone says I didn't like the body language and other indicators. I agree. This is a big week, and the truth is we're not going to see what's happening behind the curtain because we're not there. Baggins said they hit more and were much more physical on D than we were. I agree. I don't think we handled that bye very good. That little segment where you bye, then you played FSU, then another bye. Not an excuse because you're going to see other teams have that same schedule, particularly in the ACC, and I bet they probably handle it better than we did. That's on the coaches to handle that time period, and it didn't happen. But I think that was a factor in why we weren't flying around. Just came out flat. The energy from the team was flat. The energy from the crowd, quite frankly, was flat. That's probably more of a reaction than the cause, but certainly it was just a flat environment in that building. The defense never did anything to really get it back, at least in that first stretch. Eventually, they got going and played better. Shout out to Heatherman for getting them back on the scene. But yeah, as Kyle says, a lot of missed tackles on defense. I don't think it was a motivation problem as much as they just weren't physically, technically ready to tackle the way they should have. And I think that goes to preparation. I'm sure there'll be a teachable moment there as far as how to handle this bye week game by situation, since it's so unusual, just kind of lessons learned. Yeah, also, do we know, do other teams know our tendencies now? Are we too simple and not switching it up? We'll see. Angry Ape saying everything felt off in the stadium. Entrance audio was off. True. The sound of the stadium was always low and the players didn't seem too excited to play. Yeah, it was bad vibes. Crowd was abysmal. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I said that, and people get mad. I do think, like, the Friday timing and the traffic, it's just, there was a lot working against a lot of people that really wanted to be at that game, and they had to fight through very annoying traffic. Student section is the ones that I'm upset about because it was very empty there. Well, maybe I'll say in the crowd. You can't blame the crowd. Man, I don't know how many times I got to say it. The crowd was not the crowd didn't. The crowd's not going to impact this. The team struggled because, well, for a million reasons: the turnovers, the penalties, the fact they didn't come out of the bye week prepared to tackle, which against a coaching issue. The fact that this coaching staff, particularly Mario, has dropped this kind of game pretty consistently for a while, so there's not new. A million reasons, but that doesn't preclude me from saying the crowd is bad. I think that's what people get mad. Every time you say the crowd, they're like, oh, you're blaming the crowd for the team playing bad. That's not what I'm saying. The team played bad because the team played bad. They were it was the players and the coaches. So, and the other team's players and the other team's coaches who had our number the whole way. I mean, Brom's one of the best in the business. We've gone through it all. We can go through it all again. Crowd was not the reason we lost. But that doesn't mean I can't get after the crowd if we're not doing it. And then Tim says, stop defending yourself from clowns. Players feed off the crowd. I mean, look, people always, when you're behind the crowd, the first thing they hear is or let me say this differently. The first time that you criticize the crowd, the first thing you're going to hear is you're making excuses. No excuses. This would have been a loss in a COVID game with the way that we came out of that bye, the way we prepared, the way we tackled early on, the way we failed to protect the football, the penalties, self-inflicted, all that stuff. We've gone over ad nauseum. However, it doesn't mean that independently the crowd wasn't a problem. Talk about the OJ talk. Whenever they throw at him, OJ gets beat, pull the tape. Well, I mean, look, first of all, when you don't throw at someone, that means they're covered. So I think you can't say that by itself. But when it comes to Frederic, look, I thought watching all 22. I thought Frederic played fine. Frederic's the last of my problems. I thought he had some awesome. First of all, Chris Bell is to me the best receiver I've seen besides Jeremiah Smith. Earlier in the week, I called him the best draft eligible receiver. I think that's selling him short. I think he's the best receiver besides Jeremiah Smith right now. Unreal horsepower. He plays hard. He's gotten much better catching the ball and running routes. He's just a freak of nature in terms of the size and speed. The 220 with this acceleration he has. And look, Bell caught some passes on him straight up, not that many. And then Frederic made some great plays, almost had a pick on him straight up. So that was a back and forth battle. The 2 long touchdowns, one of them was a crosser where, OJ basically got picked, got knocked off. And then when the ball got to Bell, he just accelerated through our defense. That was not like him just beating Frederic on an island. The second touchdown was zone coverage. He caught it right in between the zone. I don't even think Frederic was in the picture, and then exploded upfield and scored a touchdown. So that was really, to me, more about our defense, more about Chris Bell being great, Miller Moss hitting him on time, being accurate, not being shook up, more than Frederic. I thought Frederic played fine. Fresh says every year is something. One year the defense is doing good, the other year the offense is doing bad. We need a complete team, both sides. I mean, our offense is not. There's not like a. Maybe it's because I've been around for a while. I've seen some pretty bad offenses back in my day. So I don't think this is a bad offense. I mean, it might look bad compared to last year, which was elite. But right now we're ranked 41st in the country in scoring offense. We're actually right below Louisville. Louisville's number 40. And let me pull up the stats here so you can see. It's on teamrankings.com. So Louisville, 40th in the nation in scoring offense, 30.6 points per game. Miami, 30.2 points per game. I expect this number to go up. I mean, you play Stanford. You hope you get more than 30 points against Stanford. Probably hope you get more than 40 points against Stanford. SMU, that should be a high-scoring game if you're executing an offense like you're capable of. NC State gives up a lot of points. Syracuse gives up a lot of points. Pitt's okay. And then Virginia Tech is basically an interim team. So, I could see Miami finishing very, very high. Not as high as last year, obviously, but certainly in the top 20 in scoring the offense if the team keeps improving. But there's no guarantee they'll improve. Again, we saw in 23. We thought that was just an aberration with TVD throwing the picks, and then became a trend and ultimately a major, major problem. So that's, to me, the story of the season is Carson Beck getting back on track, not letting this snowball, all the outside noise turn into internal noise. That's the key. It can't be a TVD situation, but I don't think he's TVD. Got much better relationship with the team, much better just overall player, and somebody who has won a lot of ball games.